Disclaimer! The following episode contains spoilers for Masters of the Universe Revelation Part 1. Don't go crying to your mum if we spoil it for you. You've been warned. Welcome to Podcapers, the official podcast for a place to hang your cape. And this week, it's not the gayest thing ever, but it's pretty damn close. We're talking about He-Man! Cue the music! Hello there, Capers, and as I said, welcome to Podcapers, the official podcast for a place to hang your cape. My name's Scott James Merridew, and this is a show where we talk about various geek and nerd-related topics, and I'm joined each week by a very special different guest. It's been a while since he's been on the show, but we're so glad to have him back. It's Mark Russell!
Yay! Hello, everybody, I'm back.
He's back, he's big, he's bad, he's better than ever.
I wouldn't say I'm big, I'm about 5 foot something or other.
I'm 6'2". Haha. Hey, I didn't pick the genetic lottery, okay? It got handed to me. I say genetic lottery, height is such an arbitrary thing to get focused on. Be honest with you, Capers, I've started using dating apps because I'm at that point in my life. And it doesn't happen a lot, but whenever I see someone whose profile says the vertically challenged Neonota Pie, I swiped left, okay, because I don't want to be with someone that shallow. You're exactly the right size, Mark, and I love you.
Oh, thank you. Unfortunately, we do not have the muscles of the person we're talking about today.
No, exactly, yes, He-Man. So, this is Kevin Smith's oft-awaited continuation, not reboot, but certainly a little sprinkle of reimagining in there, of the classic Filmation He-Man TV series. I have not seen a single episode.
I've seen like 2. Thanks, Netflix.
So, I mean, you've got a better background than I do. To be clear, I haven't seen a single episode of the original 80s cartoon. I have seen all 5 episodes of this new version. But everything I know about the old He-Man cartoon, I know from cultural osmosis and clips from the He-Man / She-Ra Christmas special. Because that features Christmas Skeletor, the best character in all of fiction. I don't know why, but I must save the children in the name of Christmas. I will be doing that impression all throughout the episode, and you can't stop me!
I wouldn't dream of it.
Absolutely. But before we can even begin to talk about that, we've got to talk about the news! So, a couple of actually pretty big news. So we'll start off with this smallest one. We have got the first image of the upcoming Lord of the Rings TV show.
Oh, we do?
Yeah, apparently we do. It's Warner Brothers, isn't it,
They own the film rights. Well, New Line Cinema, technically, but they're owned by Warner Brothers. Yeah.
Yeah, because in their desperate attempt to hold on to every franchise they have, as montaged in the latest Space Jam movie, I can't even. I thought to myself, should I do a review on it, or do I want to just hold on to my precious childhood memories? I picked the latter. But nevertheless, it's actually going to be done with Amazon, the next Lord of the Rings series, and we can see a very beautiful shot, I'm looking at it right now, of what appears to be... well, honestly, I don't know. It's not exactly sure where it is. It might be Gondor, but most people seem to think it's Rivendell. It's got a lovely picturesque sunsetty look at the elven city, with a figure clothed in white shimmering, slightly see-through robes standing on a hill in front of it. It looks quite pretty. Not a ton of information to be going off of, but at least we can see some definitive evidence that this show does in fact exist and is not the fever dream of some sort of executive over at Amazon.
That's strange if it was.
I mean, was it Christopher Tolkien who said he didn't like the Lord of the Rings movies because he thought they turned his father's books into an action movie. Um, I don't necessarily agree with that statement, but I understand why he thinks that, because let's be honest, the Lord of the Rings, I'm not saying Lord of the Rings is sacred or anything, as much as I love it, but it has been turned into a big franchise for quite a while now. And when the movie ended, it went away for a little while, and now they're desperately trying to bring it back with minimal success. Once in a while, they make a very good video game, or at least a passing video game, but ultimately not a lot of forward momentum because the story's over. We don't really need more. Anything else is just window dressing, and yet we're getting a TV show out of it, which might be good.
Maybe. I mean, I'm looking at the cast here, and I literally have heard none of these people apart from Peter Mullen. And I don't know. Apparently, none of them, apart from Galadriel, who's being played by oh god, it's a Welsh name, Morfydd Clark. Never heard of her. It doesn't say who's playing who.
I mean, good for her, I guess. I can't really imagine anyone other than Kate Blanchett.
I know, but but that's going to be like another. I suppose an obstacle, kind of like a deterrent. But they're going to compare. Whoever watches this is going to compare it to the film, which are masterpieces.
Yeah, so no matter what you might think of them as adaptations, they are excellent cinema.
Yeah, you realize that the first Fellowship of the Ring is 20 years old this year, and they're doing a new adaptation.
Yeah, that tracks. They still look so good, though.
They still are. I think they'll go down as, my opinion, one of the greatest film trilogies of all time.
I think that's an accolade well deserved. But we'll wait and see what happens with the Lord of the Rings TV shows. Maybe we'll review it. Who knows? On to bigger news. Do you want something that makes me happy, or do you want something that makes me really happy?
Could it involve a spider and a mouse?
It definitely does involve a spider and a mouse, because Scarlett Johansson is suing Disney.
Yay!
I mean, my God, the cojones on her.
Yeah, I mean, how not aiming this at Scarlett Johansson, but how stupid you have to be to go back on a contract, especially when the person that you're
Disney do that all the time.
I know, but it's just like stupid. Now, I mean, Marvel's their biggest moneymaker. It's like, oh, I know. Let's go back or whatever on the contract deal we made with Scarlett Johansson. That's not going to blow up in our face now, is it?
I mean, let me put it this way. If they were willing to stab Robin Williams in the back at the height of his popularity and belovedness, I mean, Scarlett Johansson, they're definitely going to do that with her, because Disney don't care about the people who work for them. They don't. And they don't care about their customers. They don't care about anything except for their profit. I've said this for years, and people always act shocked when I'm proven right.
We've got to have money.
Damn it, I actually have that soundtrack. I could have said the fact I could have used that, but
darn it.
Too late. Too fucking late. Anyway, so they basically broke a contract. She claims in her suit that they broke contract over the release of Black Widow to streaming platforms. It's a lot more to it than that. Disney claims, no, we didn't.
Yes, you did.
I believe Scarlett, frankly. Like, maybe she's wrong, but you know what? Considering Disney's track record, I believe her. And yeah, goodness knows, considering the publicity. I mean, I wonder. No, I mean, here's the thing. She if she wasn't out of the MCU before, she definitely is now.
Yep.
But nevertheless, I wish her the best of luck. Here's hope she doesn't get squashed like a bug under Disney's juggernaut-like treadmills.
Hopefully not.
And something else that is also going to make me oh so happy. It's been announced that, along sadly with Jodie Whittaker, happily, Chris Chibnall is due to leave Doctor Who in 2022.
Celebrate good times, come on.
I
don't have them on my phone.
I mean, I thought Moffat was bad, but I didn't know when I had it good.
I thought Moffat had some good times. Not perfect, but good.
He
most of the time.
tried. Bless him, he actually tried, and he had a vision. It wasn't a vision I always agreed with, but he had a vision. Chris Chibnall, I hate saying this because I like Chris Chibnall. I think he's a good writer. I fucking love Broadchurch from start to finish.
Yeah, it's weird how he goes from Broadchurch to is the best way to describe it.
Because this is so far out of his realm of comfort. He is a workaday, hard drama, sort of craggy cliffs showrunner sort of thing. Show like Broadchurch, he'll do very well in. Put him in Line of Duty, he'll do very well. But when you have him in something like Doctor Who, that requires a bit more, I don't want to say nuance, because that's sort of... It requires a certain mindset that, for all his faults, Stephen Moffat had, and Russell T. Davies had. I forgot his name. I nearly called him Julie Walters for some reason. I don't know why. I don't know why my brain is the way it is, Mark. It just is.
Not my TARDIS, you bitch.
Oh God, yeah. But no, he's gone, and I'm not sorry about that. In fact, that has come across with a sort of a cry all over the world of joy and happiness. I'm sorry to see Jodie Whittaker go, because I think she could have done a lot more and was very good. She just needed much stronger material to work with, better storyline, better character development, and maybe less of the revelation that she was the timeless child. Yeah. Mar just put his middle finger up for the folks at home because, yeah, that's my sentiment too. Because Chris, Bubala, we tuned in to Doctor Who, not Timeless Child Who. The Doctor, burns at the center of time and space, is a mad woman in a blue box that's bigger on the inside who travels around all of space and time, goes on wacky adventures going up against monsters, robots, eldritch abominations, and plastic shop window dummies. We look at that and think, holy crap, she's awesome. You looked at that and thought, boring, let's make a space Jesus. If you don't understand why that's stupid, I can't help you. And the sad thing is, now we're going to need some major retconning in order to get this done with. The last bit of Chris Chibnall and Jodie Whittaker is going to be like one solo long story. It's going to be several specials over 2022. And trailers have been released for that. It looks fine. You know, hey, it's that guy from Game of Thrones. Hey,
40 seconds of trailer we got.
Yeah, it's not a lot, and that's understandable because, you know, coronavirus filming has been difficult, but I guarantee you it's going to be as uninspired as the last two. Has there only been 2 seasons?
I don't know. Has it been? It feels like an eternity. It's been like 2 seasons and 2 Christmas, 2 New Year's specials. That's it.
Yeah, that's not a lot for Jodie Whittaker, and frankly, she deserves more, but we don't deserve more Chris Chibnall. The question is, who's going to replace him? Now, a lot of people have voted on the internet that Phoebe Waller-Bridge should replace him, and I think, frankly, that's an excellent idea. I'm sure she'd much prefer to be running like her own shows, doing movies, and doing her own things. I don't know if she'd be willing to be a showrunner on something like Doctor Who, but I think if she did want to do that, she'd be great. However, they've actually got an offer from popular American showrunner / author / comic book writer J. Michael Straczynski. He of Babylon 5 fame.
Oh, okay.
Many other things for like Thor and all sorts of other people, and Spider-Man and all sorts of other things. He's a very good writer, and he says like, hey, BBC, call me. And I don't know what that would look like, considering he's an American showrunner. It would be very different working on British TV with a British audience. But you know what? I trust him to handle it better than Chris Chibnall.
I would go with Neil Gaiman, but that's just me.
Neil Gaiman is not a good showrunner. He is a great creator. He's a great conceptual guy, great writer. If he was writing all the episodes, I'd be down for that. But a showrunner is more than that. It's I would love to see him, you know, do an episode here and there, and I'll just see him produce it. And also I think let's be honest, he's busy focusing on the Sandman TV series that's in production right now.
Until it gets cancelled.
What? Until
it gets cancelled, they cancelled American Gods.
I was never a big fan of American Gods. Don't you go anywhere. Stay where you are. Like, it's nothing against American Gods. It was a good show. It's a good story. It's a great show, great story. It's not never something. It's like the one thing of Neil Gaiman's, who, bear in mind, is my favorite author of all time. I could never get into.
That's fine. That's fine.
I like Sandman. Sandman's awesome. I've been listening to the audiobook. I'm still listening to the audio version. It's so long. God damn it. I've only just got part of the bit with the Corinthian. Jesus. Anyway, that was the news. Now here are some ads. This is the world we live in, folks. You know it.
And now we're pleased to bring you our feature presentation.
So, He-Man Revelation. To say this is a passion project would not be an understatement. Would you agree?
Well, I suppose it's been, could you say, a long time coming?
I mean, well, it's been coming since the 80s, because as I understand it, the original He-Man cartoon had some unresolved plot lines. It could have gone for longer, but considering it had the budget of, like, a ham sandwich and a packet of crisps, it's safe to say it didn't have a huge amount of longevity. That's the thing with a lot of 80s cartoons. 90% of the budget went into the opening animation.
Yeah, pretty
And
much.
even though with He-Man, even then, it wasn't like Thundercats. Thundercats is the biggest. If I was a kid in the 80s and I was watching Thundercats, I'd be watching like the running around the place and laser shooting everywhere. It's like, Thunder, Thundercats, ho! And I'd be like, wow, this is amazing. And then it cuts to like, what was it, Lion-O?
Yeah, Liner.
Lion-O's just like, for 20 minutes, just like, remember kids, always recycle. What the fuck? No, this is not what I turned into. I tuned in for fucking anthropomorphic inspiration for furry fan fiction, going at it, but not in that way. What I got was this. I'd feel cheated. I mean, let's be honest, a lot of the animation we watched growing up in the 90s wasn't any better. Well, it was a bit better, but let's just say I look back on Spider-Man's run-on sentences with a certain amount of cringe. You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
So, so there were a couple of other He-Man cartoons. There was one in, I think, the later 80s or the 90s. There was one that I did actually watch a few episodes of in the 2000s. I've talked about that show before. I only remember one episode. Guy, long neck. There was like poison gas infecting the castle. He put his head above the gas, and that's how he saved the day.
Genius.
Yeah. Honestly, the thing I remember most about that show was how it started with Prince Adam like, "Hi, I'm Adam, Prince of Eternia. Fabulous secret powers," and then explosion!
Yeah.
And then it's just like big battle. It's just like, I see what you did there. I know what you're doing.
Yeah, I mean, you know, a lot of people kind of dismiss He-Man as being really cheesy 80s stuff, but you watch the opening, and it's like, this is awesome!
I have the power!
Yeah. Because they invented the you know, there's a long winded story about how they made the toys and things like that, but it's a good story, but they made He-Man kind of like, from how the creators described it, as kind of being the embodiment of particularly boys having no rules to follow from their parents. I can do whatever I want. I have the power.
Ah, I see. So it was tapping into like a juvenile fantasy.
Yeah, pretty much. Well, like all TV shows don't do that.
Yeah, good point. And so, yeah, this is in fact a continuation of that original story. Thankfully, it's not a continuation of the 1980s Dolph Lundgren live-action movie.
Oh God.
Because then we'd have like pink Cadillacs everywhere, that guy from Top Gun and Back to the Future shouting about the place. Courtney Cox would be there for no reason.
Why are you here? My parents died in a plane crash. What's that got to do with He-Man? Nothing whatsoever.
Frank and Jella's just in the back. We're just like, this mask is hot. That was so stupid.
They get scared by a cow.
Oh god, it was so stupid. I mean, not that the original wasn't stupid, but somehow it's stupider when you have like real people doing it. And of course that gave us She-Ra, which in turn later gave us the magnificent She-Ra and the Princesses of Power, a recent show from Noelle Stevenson, which is one of my favorite animated series of all time.
And I must thank you for introducing me to it.
You are very welcome. It's almost like I have good taste.
Yeah, almost.
Anyway, yes, and so I guess a lot of people were hoping, I was hoping, for a crossover between this show and She-Ra, but considering the different continuities, and that one's over in DreamWorks, Noelle Stevenson said she'd like to do like a one-off Christmas special, which I'm all for, because again, Christmas Skeletor. Oh no, our little puppy's freezing in the snow. I'll take him. Oh, he's licking my face. Oh, I hate this, but I love it. Oh, God.
Christmas.
When he's talking about what he likes about Christmas, and it's like, so, what do people get up to at Christmas? Well, they exchange presents, and the presents explode. No, people don't do that. What are they talking about? Well, do they get into fights? No!
Well,
What's fun about fights? Fights are fun! I like fights! And it's just like, I could watch hours of Skeletor trying to communicate, empathize with, and sympathize with two human children and just failing. Just Skeletor, take him out of Eternia, plop him into our world, and Skeletor has to get a job. That's what I want to see.
A Christmas job. And what is your name, little boy? Haven't you already been through here? Why? The skeleton guy went up the roof a moment ago. Here's my severed head. What?
I am Skeletor, ruler of Snake Mountain. Could I please have an application to work in Asda?
You can work in the sculpture department. Or a body shop.
Or a body shop. Hot topic, can you imagine?
Hello, would you like some free socks?
I am Skeletor. Here are some free samples of cheeses.
You want your coupon? Buy one, get one free.
My impression is better than yours, Mark. Accept it. I finally bested you on impressions. I can't do any others, but I can do that.
Oh, we'll see about that, mister.
Oh, forget it.
Give up,
anyway, fucking He-Man and Master of the Universe Revelation. So this has been split into 2 parts on Netflix. Part 1 is out, and we will do part 2. So I don't know how long this episode is actually going to be. There isn't that much to talk about, but what there is, we shall indeed talk about. So, first of all, it starts off with a handy-dandy, for me especially, recap of the entirety of what the fuck is going on with He-Man. Just like, okay, here's what we are. Here's He-Man. He's this guy. He's also this guy named Adam. And this time they have different body types. Thank Christ. Because in the original, they looked exactly the same, except He-Man had less clothing. It's just like, I would be focusing on your face, He-Man, but I'm distracted by your taunt, pert pecs. This is like, and the only difference was that Adam had a slightly campier voice. And He-Man talked like this. Adam talked like this.
and no one knew they were the same person.
Well, apparently a few people did.
Oh, yeah, okay, they do. A couple of people did, but it's like the Clark Kent thing, isn't it?
Well, we've less so. Because, I don't know. I feel like it would be fucking obvious to a lot of people.
Yeah, I know, it's a thing. I always wondered about that. It's like, you got Superman, you got He-Man, you got Sailor Moon. They all look the same. There's like, they wear masks or anything. Like, you look familiar. Nope, don't know me at all. Bye.
Well, in fairness, Sailor Moon never interacted with the general populace a ton.
No, not really, I suppose.
And He-Man and Superman did. But here's the thing, I mean, with Superman, I get it, he wants a normal life. Why does He-Man keep his identity secret? Explain that to me.
In context, despite half the cast knowing who he is, it is because the Sorceress doesn't want his identity to be given away, so for whatever reason, Skeletor will somehow use that to enter Castle Grayskull, and I have no idea how that works.
What? So he knows that... Well,
No,
first of all,
Skeletor-
that's disproven in this show.
Yeah, Skeletor doesn't know that Adam and He-Man are the same person, at least in the 80s show, but the Sorceress does, Orko does, Man-at-Arms does, Cringer does, and Adam's mum knows. Everyone else is like,
I guess, and it seems kind of weird. Why would you keep that secret if it was? I mean, even then, okay, so Skeletor needs his secret identity to enter Castle Grayskull. Castle Grayskull's got its defenses already, and if that's all that's keeping him out, why does He-Man need to do fucking anything to defend Castle Grayskull? Grayskull's fine. It's got the ultimate defense system. He can't go in unless he knows where I am. I'm not telling anyone. So, boom, job sorted. I can go out and just, fight the monster of the week or whatever that's going on. You know? We don't need to defend Castle Grayskull. Grayskull's fine. And anyway, God, we're going to make... There's so much that you just can't question, but I can't help questioning. And we go into the first episode... The Power of Grayskull. So one of He-Man's most trusted allies is Duncan, who has the title of Man-at-Arms. What that means, I don't know. Here's the thing. This show handholds its audience through some of the stuff that you might not know about. But when I say handhold, it's more like a pinky hold. Like, the connection is there, but if you're falling off a cliff, I wouldn't hang on to that.
no, probably not.
It's there, but you're really gonna have to pick up a lot of context clues. And but we're not talking about Duncan right now. We're talking about his... Is it adoptive daughter or biological daughter?
Adopted
daughter, Teela. So before we go any further, actually, let's talk about some of the cast. It's a fucking awesome cast.
Yeah.
So first of all, we got Chris Wood as Prince Adam and He-Man. He is known for working in the Vampire Diaries and the Carrie Diaries.
Jeez, what else is it? What else diaries is what? The He-Man Diaries.
I don't know. It was also Mon-El in Supergirl, which I didn't see him as, and I don't really care about, so, yeah.
Yeah.
But he's very good in this show. Mark Hamill is Skeletor.
Woo!
Now, I love Mark Hamill. He's excellent as Skeletor. But they already have the original voice actor of Skeletor, Alan Oppenheimer, as Mossman. So why not make him do Skeletor? It's not like he can't do Skeletor anymore. He still does Skeletor. He's great at doing Skeletor. And you have him, so why not use him as Skeletor? I don't get it.
Well, who knows? Well, we might as well get one of the original voice cast back, just not cast him in the role he's famous for.
I don't get it. But they still do cast him. Maybe he was busy. Maybe he couldn't keep up with the amount of lines Skeletor has. But Skeletor doesn't have that many lines. I feel like Alan Oppenheimer might have been able to do the extra dozen or so lines necessary. I mean, obviously, you don't do, as a voice actor, you don't do them all in one go. It's often a couple of days of doing, and it can be fairly intensive. But I don't know, I think he could have done it. But in any case, Mark Hamill is still a great replacement. The Joker influences are there, but you know it's Mark Hamill. Do you really care? Do you really care?
Yep.
No. Of course not. Then we've got Liam Cunningham making his way up the tree of nerd respect as Duncan. Sarah Michelle Gellar, already at the top of that tree, as Teela. Lena Headey as Evelyn.
How appropriate.
Yeah. Diedrich Bader as King Randor. Alicia Silverstone as Queen Marlena. Stephen Root as Cringer, who's surprisingly good. I mean, I always knew Stephen Root was good, but like Cringer was just like the comic relief character. It was just like, oh, I'm scared. This is scary. Oh no, I pissed myself. Scary. And then his battle cannon is just like, not scared anymore. And Griffin Newman as Orko. He's very good. Susan Eisenberg as the Sorceress from Grayskull. Kevin Michael Richardson as Beastman. Love him. Kevin Conroy as Merman. We got Mark Hamill and Kevin Conroy in this. That's great. Henry Rollins is Triclops. Jason Mewes is Stinkor. Because, Kevin Smith, Jason Mewes.
He's a skunk.
You got it. Alan Oppenheimer, as I said, as Mossman. Justin Long as Roboto. Yeah. Tony Todd as Scareglow. Love me some Tony Todd. Phil Lamar, Samurai Jack as Hero. Cree Summer, one of my favorite voice actresses of all time, as the Priestess. Harley Quinn Smith makes an appearance. Dennis Haber makes an appearance. So there's a lot of great people in this.
It's a pretty well brought together cast. I mean, I assume they cut. Some people complain, they're taking the celebrity route, but you know what? It's fine if they do a good performance.
Yeah, celebrities, but they're appropriately cast. There's not a single one that doesn't seem appropriate. And also, a lot of these people are veteran voice actors. Like, come on.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you got Mark Hamill, Kevin Conroy, Alan Oppenheimer's 91. He's still kicking ass.
Wait, he's 91? I thought he was younger than that. Oh, no wonder. Okay, maybe I'll give him a pass then for being Mossman, because Jesus Christ, 91. Okay, yeah, and people like Henry Rollins and Sarah Michelle Gellar have done voice work in the past as well. So this is not outside their field of expertise. Anyway, Teela is being celebrated and becoming as a new man-at-arms. I guess it's a, fraternity of people, I guess? So, it's something that most people could have? Or is she replacing man-at-arms?
I think he's retiring.
Okay, fair enough.
They're a little bit vague on it.
My mustache is so tired. You know what? Props to him. Not many people can rock the full Tom Selleck, and he does that. And they're having a party. Seems to be going well. Teela and Adam do have a little bit of banter. And then they're interrupted by Skeletor and Evil Lyn doing what they do, going up and trying to conquer Castle Grayskull.
Except they get in.
Skeletor's attacking. It must be Tuesday.
Not again.
Oh dear. And so, so He-Man and his allies go out to face them. Adam transforming into He-Man by the power of Grayskull. Not meant to make that noise, but okay, whatever works. So they rush there to defend Castle Grayskull. They all have a big old Barney. And He-Man and Skeletor do their thing. But eventually, Skeletor is able to get into the castle. No way. And gets to the heart of the castle, where all of magic flows through Eternia. See, Eternia is supposed to be at the center of the universe. And it's the epicenter of all magic that flows out to the rest of the universe. That's why they're called the Masters of the Universe. Still a bit of a poncy title, but alright. And if that magic, for whatever reason, gets damaged or goes bye-bye, so does the rest of the universe. It's literally like the universe battery. So, we don't want to fuck with that. Guess who wants to fuck with it?
Skeletor.
They go into there, Mossman shows up. Now you might be asking, because we've mentioned that name several times before, who the fuck is Mossman? And that is a question I am still asking, because remember that hand-holding, pinky-holder thing? This is one of those things, because this show gives you no clue as to who Mossman is, why he's important, or even what the fuck he is other than a man of moss. I mean, I first saw him, I thought, Swamp Thing?
Yeah.
What are you doing here? This isn't DC. But no, he's there, and Skeletor kills Mossman.
Damn.
Like, oh no, we hardly knew ye.
There's some irony to it, isn't there? Since he's the original Skeletor getting killed by a new Skeletor.
Oh god, yeah. Oh.
Well, that was grim.
Yeah. So it gets to kills Mossman, gets to the heart of Eternia. I can't remember what it's even fucking called.
Magic MacGuffin.
The Magic MacGuffin. And Skeletor tries to get at it and ends up cracking the orb containing all the magic. And as they're doing that, the sorceress gets out another Magic MacGuffin, slows down time, gives He-Man enough time to try and stop the explosion using the big old sword he has, the Sword of Power. Side note, he summons that Sword of Power from behind his back and as Adam. Where does that come from?
Who knows?
Is it hidden down the back of his shirt? Because you know what? There's not enough room down there for a whole sword. People would notice. I'm just saying.
Maybe it's like Percy Jackson and turns into a pen.
Maybe. It wouldn't surprise me. And so he tries to stop it using the Sword of Power, but something weird happens. The Sword of Power gets split in two.
Ooh.
And Teela, for a moment, sees not He-Man standing there, but Adam.
Oh no, he's hot!
Yeah, what is their relationship? And did they have a thing for each other? I don't know.
I think... Oh, I don't know. Again, I didn't watch the show much. Teela likes He-Man, but she also likes Adam, but she doesn't know they're the same person.
Oh, is this a Lois Lane thing?
Maybe, sort of. I don't know. Is there any fans watching? Help.
I can't be doing with that. Anyway, she has a moment to see Adam and looks like, oh, things might be fine. Things are not fine. He-Man and Skeletor go kablooey. They blow up. And they're dead. This show had the balls to kill He-Man in the very first episode. Well done, Kevin.
Until the fallout came.
Yes, we talked about this on the show before, in one of the news segments for a previous episode. This caused a very negative fan reaction. The show was review bombed on Rotten Tomatoes from the audience score, and a lot of it was basically saying how they wanted more He-Man and more Skeletor, and also that because a lot of people felt lied to because He-Man and Skeletor were featured prominently in the marketing for the show, and then with He-Man gone, a lot of people felt manipulated and lied to. And I can understand that, but you know what? If the show's still good, who cares?
I suppose, but I think like you said, a lot of people are angered that they were lied to, because Kevin Smith apparently said on Twitter that, oh, this is all about He-Man. It's focused entirely on him. Huh.
Yeah, that may have been a mistake.
Hmm.
Yeah, because that's not what this show is about. The show is about, actually, a lot of He-Man's supporting cast. Because, like we said, He-Man atomized.
The power of love is bullshit. Power of swords and violence. That's where the money is.
Yeah, nope, he's just completely gone. And they're forced to deal with the fallout of that. They go to King Randor and just like, hey, so good news, bad news. Good news, Skeletor, gonzo. We don't have to deal with him anymore. It's almost like we're free of some sort of censorship right now. I don't know why. Bad news, He-Man dead. More bad news, He-Man was Adam. You know, that kid that you were horrible to the whole time? He's just saying, oh, Adam, I wish you were more like He-Man. Again, you know what I would do? I would just transform right there and there in front of him, just like, oh really, Dad? Oh really? You want me to be more like He-Man? Is that what you want? Is that what you really want? Well, I guess it's Christmas, because guess what, motherfucker? I got the power!
Brought to you by Skeletor, Christmas Skeletor. How's that for a present?
I brought you a present. Is it going to explode?
Uh...
I'm just going to take this back. You know, oh my god, Skeletor is Jack Skellington.
I know! Except Buffer.
Except a lot Buffy, yes. Oh, there's an empty place in my... Okay, guys, I don't think it's going to work if I sing. And I, Skeletor, the Pumpkin King.
Danny, you Elfman, you do it.
Yeah. So they revealed to King Rantor, yeah, your son was He-Man. He doesn't take it well.
Tonight at 11.
Doom!
He basically says, oh, screw all you. I'm going to react to this in the worst possible way. Hey, you know Duncan, that guy who's been a constant friend and companion to both me and my son and He-Man? I banish you, and if I ever see you again, your ass is grass. It's kind of an overreaction, to be honest with you.
Well,
I mean, I don't know. I mean, he's grieving. He's grieving, you know?
Yeah. The one downside to this is that because we find out the Queen knew, we don't see them again in the show. So how did that little lie affect their relationship?
I mean, there is going to be part 2, but you're absolutely right. You would think that we see... Because, we don't see them ever again. So, I don't know. It is a little weird. But anyway, that ends... Well, no, actually, doesn't that quite end episode 1? Because Teela's just like...
Explodes?
No, Teela does not explode. She's just... Well, she kind of explodes. She basically says, oh my god, I didn't know that Adam was He-Man. You all lied to me. Even though, 3-4 people knew instead of her. And there was, dozens of other people that didn't know. She's like, you all lied to me. And I'm not going to be mad at arms. Screw all you. I'm going to get me a funky new hairdo. And she storms out. And this is her character for the remaining 4 episodes. And I've got to be honest with you, maybe I'm missing something. Maybe this is part of her character in the original show. But she comes across as really whiny.
Yeah, I agree on that. I mean, she's quite tedious a lot of the time. I mean, I understand her reaction as a character, but it's like, then she comes all...
It's like a year later, or however much time has passed between episodes, and she's still going on about it. Oh my god, they didn't let me in on this massive secret that I really had no right to be a part of, and that means everyone is distrustworthy, all my friends are bastards, even the ones who didn't know, and I can't trust anyone, and that's all she goes on about for the rest of part 1. It is tedious, just like, oh my god, Teela, get over it!
I think an interesting story decision they could have taken, rather than kill off Adam, is they could have kept him alive, and he could have been there personally to see Teela and his dad fall apart, and then maybe it could have been a little bit more less annoying from Teela's part.
Yeah, and she could have actually worked out her issues with Adam in the first 2 or so episodes. And, maybe he would have been there, but he wouldn't have been able to access the powers of He-Man. So it was just like, oh, God, now what can I do? And then we could have had more character development for Adam as well. But no, we got this. And so she fucks off, and that gives us into episode 2, The Poison Chalice. She is now a mercenary, along with her friend, Andra.
Who is from the Marvel run of He-Man, apparently.
Really?
Yeah, I looked at... TV Tropes is helpful.
Because I just assumed she was part of the original show, because I have no context for this. She looks really cool. Kind of looks like this one character from Mortal Kombat, but I'm going to ignore that.
Okay.
And so she and her are both mercenaries, wandering around this fantasy sci-fi land, beating up bad guys and taking names with their cool, one-half shaved, slight overcut hairdos. And that's kind of cool. I kind of wish the whole show was just about that.
Except Teela being less moany.
Being less moany, yeah, it's like 50% of our dialogue. The other 50% is good, but then we have to come back to this, and it's just like, you are a grown-ass woman and someone told you a couple of porcupines. I understand being upset in the moment, but Jesus, you basically spurned your adoptive father over this. I mean, Jesus. Anyway, and so they're off doing stuff, and they encounter Stinkor. They get this fantasy glove thing, and they give it to like a church. And that's another thing. The world building in He-Man is crap. I have no idea how this world works and the people that inhabit it. It's like just chock full of fantasy sci-fi bullshit. But that actually kind of works in its favor, because like that's not really where the focus is. It's not good that the focus isn't where it is, but at the same time it means they can do whatever they want, which makes it kind of stand out. Am I making any sense?
A bit, sort of. It's a world of both magic and technology. It kind of whammies together.
Yeah.
Yay.
But they're hired by an old woman who's got a side quest for them to retrieve a goblet from Snake Mountain. They choose not to ask any follow-up questions. Like, well, actually, they ask one question. Why do you want the goblet? Sentimental reasons?
Okay.
I choose not to question that. And then they go to Snake Mountain, which has become a bit more technologically advanced since Skeletor went bye-bye. And it's been taken over by Triclops, voiced by Henry Rollins. And he's established like this big machine cult where it's like... well, yeah, it's like the Borg. And honestly, it's kind of fucked up. The animation is really good throughout the whole show. And it really shows that they're willing to push the boundaries and push the envelope. And so... they defeat him and a bunch of people, including a little kid who's been, like,
Yikes.
cyborgized.
Yikes.
It's weird. They get the goblet, blah, 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 and they take it back to the old woman, who is revealed to be Evelyn!
Messing up everything.
It's been Agatha all along.
And, first of all, Evelyn, that's a stupid name.
It's the 80s.
It's a stupid name. I mean, they're all stupid names in fairness. He-Man, redundant. Skeletor, his face is a skeleton. But, yeah.
Apparently there's a lot of smoking involved during the creation of He-Man.
I don't doubt that. So it's evil. It turns out to be Evelyn, and they're like, "Oh my god, Evelyn! It was you all the time." Yes, but I'm a good guy now. Really? Well, no, but I am working on the side of good, because here's the thing: magic is gone, which means Eternia is dying, which means the whole universe is dying. So we kind of need to work together. And this is what I love about this show. It's a coalition of good guys and bad guys from an 80s cartoon show having to work together. This is amazing.
It's logical.
It's completely logical, makes complete sense, but they don't also immediately turn them good or into Christmas Skeletor or anything like that. Because it's just... you're like, oh yeah, we're completely despicable and distrustworthy, but we don't want to fucking die, so what do you say, friends? Let's go X-Men 2 on this bad boy. And they're like, okay, great. Well, they get a bit of cajoling from the sorceress, who's in pretty dire straits now that the magical Grayskull is gone. Also, in the previous episode, when the magical Grayskull went, it was revealed to be like a much prettier castle.
Yeah, the Hall of Wisdom or something like that.
Hall of Wisdom. Again, I have no context for any of this, but I'm willing to bet that this is one of the lost storylines from the previous cartoon. And that they just kept. I'm basing that on nothing. This is just my supposition.
Well, I believe the two swords and the hall is from the toy line, so it is technically canon.
I have okay, look, when it comes to things being canon or not canon...
here's me on the scale of caring. I'm at 0.
I do not care. I'm trying to dissect this as best as I can with little to no information.
I know, and I just confirmed it for you. You're welcome.
I very much appreciate that. The goblet is revealed to actually be the top bit of Skeletor's goat skull staff thing. And that's got like one of the last bits of real magic left in the whole planet. And so they've got to use that to try and find the two halves of Seaman's Sword of Power, reunite them so they can bring magic back to Eternia and fix this whole mess and, put the Dark Crystal Shard back in its place, get the Death Star plans. You know how this goes.
And interestingly, this show has Mark Hamill and then a Hedy in it, just like the Dark Crystal did.
Oh, yes. Maybe Netflix is making up for cancelling that great show. Good.
What you did was sneaky, underhanded, and downright distasteful. I loved it.
No, we didn't. No, we didn't love it.
No, we didn't. I tried to cut that off just so we wouldn't play the whole thing, but no. Yeah, it's... Yeah, so that's the impetus. That's the whole thing that we're doing. Let's reunite, unite the Swords of Power, get them, return magic to Eternia, and we're going to need to get a lot of help to do that. And Tila, however, does not want to do this because she's having a pity party. It's like, you didn't tell me about it, so I guess I'm going to let... This is after she is told, universe going to die. And guess who turns her around? Cringer. Poor Cringer has to convince this deuteragonist to step into the role of protagonist for a bit and stop the universe from dying. You should not have to convince anyone to stop the fucking reality from imploding. That's something anyone should get behind. It's like, yeah, okay, I'm not happy about being lied to, but I'll work with you for the greater good. Fucking Evelyn! Evelyn is willing to put the work in, Tila. What's your excuse?
She's angsty.
She's not angsty, though. Angsty is cool. Angsty can be a bit like broody and compelling and often has good reason. Like when she was doing Buffy, there was angst because she was a teenage girl who, through no fault of her own, was compelled to fight back the forces of darkness, a role that she never asked for, never wanted, and was basically forced into. That's angst. Here, the universe is ending. She has the skill, she's willing to fight for stuff, but isn't willing to because someone once lied to her about something that didn't affect her. It's really... Like, I want to like this character, I really do, but god damn it. She's really got to get a grip. Bless him, Cringer's lovely in this show, and he's just like, hey, you were the first one to call me Cringer. I have no idea if that's true, but...
Let's just assume it is.
Yeah, let's assume it is. And they actually do work to give a lot of these side characters backstories and motivations and interesting tidbits, and I really appreciate that. The previous show wouldn't thought to give Cringer a backstory, but they did in this show, and it works. It works very well. And so Tila is convinced to go with the other people to get the two Swords of Power in Preternia, which is like Eternia's heaven, and Subternia, which is like Eternia's hell.
Dear God. There's more. No.
Yeah. So, and that ends episode 2. And episode 3 then continues, the most dangerous man in Eternia, because they need to get more allies. By which we mean we need to go and reunite with more characters from the show. Starting with Man-at-Arms. They go to a village that's been attacked by Triclops' machine cult.
Mecha Brigade.
Sorry?
Mecha Brigade.
Mecha Brigade. And...
That's what I call it.
I think that's a perfectly good name for them.
We are the Windows 97 Brigade.
It's... And so they try and fight them, but they Need a bit of help. Who should enter into but a bearded Duncan Man-at-Arms? My God, I thought that man couldn't get sexier, but look at him. He's great. And he's gone full beard, full shag. He's got like a robe over his Man-at-Arms armor. He's pretty cool. You could kind of make shows out of all of these characters, now that I think about it. Probably. They could all have their own shows. Or at least their own standalone episodes. But, we need to condense. And fairness, this is quite condensed. It's lucky they have any character development at all, to be honest. And they fend off the Machine Brigade, and it turns out Man-at-Arms has been collecting magic water in order to help someone not die. Turns out that person is Orko.
No, not the comic relief character.
Not the really annoying one who suddenly stops being annoying and becomes incredibly endearing in this show. Like, he was really annoying in the show, that much I did know, but he's actually great in this, because it turns out he was a bad magician. Ruh-roh. But now, because magic is gone and he's a Trolloc?
Trolloc? Yeah, something like that.
But which basically means huge wizard magic user. And because magic is going, he is dying. It's just like, he looks so small and frail and sweet and cute, and your heart bleeds for him. It really does.
Poor fella.
And he's been doing that along with Rom Space Knight. Actually, no, it's Roboto. The names are so stupid. Okay, so we've got a new character for our toy line. I mean, incredibly deep cartoon. What should we call him? Well, what is he? He's a robot. Oh? Wait a minute. Robot? Oh? We'll call him Machine Man! Actually, no, we'll just call him Roboto.
Genius.
And they also have to shoehorn in a bunch of exposition about who the fuck this guy is. Turns out he's a robot that was built by Man-at-Arms that was based on his brain patterns.
So he's he's Vision.
Yeah, and he talks a lot like Vision too. Sorry, Justin Long, I see where you got your inspiration.
And he's got the thing in his chest as well. That's him. What?
It's really weird, but he's also there. And they're basically just like, okay, you know what? We need your help. We're all going to get together. Man-at-Arms, you go to Castle Grayskull, what's left of it, and help defend the sorceress and prepare for our arrival. The rest of us, we're going to the land of the dead. Hooray!
Hey, let's go get her. Let's go get Merman.
Yeah, so actually we started a few of these episodes with little flashbacks to the various clashes between He-Man and Skeletor back when they were still around, and they do harken back to the classic campy sort of thing. He-Man makes a few puns. I'm glad they did that. It's cute, you know.
Yeah, I like good puns or bad puns or any puns.
Just a lot of puns and just a little bit of gay subtext.
Don't kink shame me!
So, and there's a flashback to a fight between them and Merman. Now, in the future, and they're traveling along a boat, we get to see Evelyn without a helmet. Turns out she's rocking some long white things.
Hair, I believe it's called.
I was trying to do the haircut, but I don't know what haircuts are called. So it's just long. Yeah, and apparently this caused a little bit of a stir in the gay community. I can't imagine why. Yeah, because I don't know, big woman, played by Lena Headey, strong, tall, white hair, little bit of condescension about her. I can see why some people would like that, and so. They're on the way there, but then Merman pops out, played by Kevin Conroy, takes them all hostage. He's just like, Evelyn, you and I could have ruled the surface and the waters, but now you're, I don't know, chum? Can I say that? Would we call her chum? Kill her! And obviously does not go well for them.
That'd make a terrible fish bum. I can't remember what it is.
Come on, we're all waiting.
I can't remember what it's called. Damn it! Hold on a second. It might pause recording just a second. I'm just going to jump to TV tropes.
Can you remember the pun?
No, it's eluded me.
I'm deeply ashamed of you, Mark.
Oh God, deeply.
Deep. I honestly, I'm embarrassed to know you.
Oh dear. Oh dear.
So they beat off Merman and come to the gates of the land of the dead, Subternia, which is activated by the head of the Havoc staff, and they go into the land of the dead, and that ends episode 3. And also, this also ends the bit of the show where we don't have ads, which means, you guessed it, some ads! Check them out. And we're back. So, episode 4, The Land of the Dead. When they all enter, they're all separated. Evelyn and Orko go off in one direction. Tila goes off in one direction, and what was her name?
Oh darn it,
Andra.
Andra.
She's present in the show and she's fine. There's nothing wrong with her character, but I keep on forgetting her name. Andra, Roboto, and Beastman teleport somewhere else. They go to a spooky graveyard place where a bunch of zombies and fire bats attack them. Tila comes face to face with, and no, I'm not making this up. I wish I was making this up. A big skeleton guy, voiced by Tony Todd, called Scareglow.
Granted.
And that's when I got mad.
No, I'm sorry. I was willing to accept Evelyn. We're fine with He-Man and Merman and Skeletor and all that shit, but Scareglow? Scareglow? He's not even a scarecrow. He's just a glow-in-the-dark skeleton man. And you know that's what they based it on, the toy that glows in the dark. You know that's what they did.
I'd say there are more cringy names from the characters.
This is my breaking point, I'm sorry.
There's a character called Fisto.
What?
There's a character called Fisto. Because he fights with his fists, and he's called Fisto.
One more time.
His name is Fisto.
Piss off.
I refuse. I refuse. No, I'm done. No! You can't. 80s. I know you were living in blissful ignorance, but you can't. You can't call a character Fisto. I am Fisto, and I will beat you with my massive fists. Bend over.
I'm crying. Oh dear.
Fisto! What were they thinking? Parents' Guidance Authority, whoever was masterminding all these cartoons at the time. Where the fuck were you? Who was asleep at the wheel when they drafted that name? Fisto?
Breathe.
What's his battle cry?
He gonna get it!
Probably. Oh dear. Like I said, a lot of smoking.
Oh god, Jesus!
Oh, give me a minute.
I can't. I can't. Moving on. So she's confronted by Scareglow, who's just like, if you give me what I want, I'll give you the sort of power half that's over here, and you can go free. Okay, what do you want? Your fear.
Hello, Scarecrow.
Okay.
Okay, it's kind of, apart from this stupid name, the fact that he's kind of a cool character.
Yeah, he's a cool character because he's voiced by Tony Todd, who's a badass.
Candyman.
Yeah, but I was in a whole bunch of Final Destination movies for no goddamn reason other than I wanted to be. Anyway. And so she's got to fight a
herself
manifestation of an evil version of He-Man, and they fight it out while she tries to get past all of her emotional problems.
Oh, the complete and indescribable anguish!
Yeah, I really don't care. At this point, we've had 3 episodes of abject whining, and I'm starting to hope that she dies here. Meanwhile, over in the interesting side of the episode, we've got Evelyn and Orko transported to an imaginary version of his home dimension, because he's meant to be like a dimension person. Of
Trollin.
no, it's
Trollin?
No, it's Trolloc, which makes him a Trollin.
You're trolling me. Sorry.
You couldn't remember the fish pun, but you remember that. Jesus, Mark. And they have a big old heart-to-heart about how Orko, his parents, wanted him to be destined for great things. So actually, they named him Oracle. But when he was a little kid, he couldn't say Oracle, so he said Orko, and the name stuck. It turns out he wasn't very good at magic on Trolloc either. And it's a whole heart-to-heart he has with Evelyn. And it's really good.
I know, it's really surprising. It's 20% was like, oh god, here comes Orcos, we're really annoying and stuff. They fleshed him out as a sympathetic character. Well done.
They did a really good job of it too. I liked what's his face, Griffin Newman's performance a lot. I like Evelyn's version of it. And they even have they even joke a little bit, just like he asks a question, just like, no, my parents didn't name me Evelyn, I added that later.
Yeah.
Thought, that's cute, that's funny. And then a bunch of monsters appear in all these different illusions, I guess. And Tila has to fight a version of herself, and He-Man as well. And then she defeats them, and they're all together again. It's like, hooray! We've got the sword. Let's go. But Scareglow isn't willing to abide by the deal, even though he says, no, you broke the deal, when she clearly didn't.
Yeah,
the whole deal was that she faced her fears, and she did that.
Well, he wanted her fears, which I assume she either faced them or was consumed by them. So either way, it's like, you broke the deal.
How could she hand over an abstract emotional concept?
I don't know, I assume it's magic. He converts it into magic. Although there was a point you didn't bring up, which I thought was a little bit interesting, is that Tila, apparently her greatest fear is that she's too powerful?
Was that what you got from that? That wasn't what I got from that at all. I mean, honestly, her whole arc seems to be really confused. They were clearly making it up as they went along.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Which I understand, because, she probably didn't have that much of a character arc in the original show, but neither did Orko and Evelyn, and you managed to give them one.
Yeah, although another thing that interested me is how they explored Lynn's relationship with Skeletor. Because in the original cartoon, she's not loyal to him at all. She pretty much wants him gone so she can seize power. But here, she seems to be quite fond of old Bony Face.
Yeah. But I'm glad they put that in. It works quite well. So, yeah, I don't know. Maybe they just ran out of ideas, but this is one of the main characters. You need to work a little bit harder.
Yeah.
So, she conquers her fears. They try and open a dimensional gate to Preternia, Eternian Heaven, but they're chased off by Scareglow, and Orko.
You should have passed!
Orko remains behind and uses magic properly for the first time to fight off Scareglow, and he's like,
honey, you've got a big storm coming.
and then Orko dies. Yeah, I'm sure he'll be back and all, but Orko dies. Yeah, I didn't see that coming, and it's like a huge, big, magical anime battle, and it looks really, really cool. But then he goes explodey, and I know by the laws of cartoon, no body, no dead, but at the same time,
well, that was grim.
Yeah, and so they end up in Preternia and are confronted by Adam. And that brings us into the last episode of part 1, The Forge at the Forest Forever. They make a little grave for Orko. And Evelyn, and they also like like Tina says he was loyal, and Adam says something else nice, and then Evelyn, who's clearly mourning in her own way, says he was a fool. But she leaves her helmet behind for him.
Yes, and isn't it nice? I do quite like that when they have like heroes and villains all kind of mourn a character together. I do. It's quite rare when they do that.
It proves what I've often said about those old cartoons. If the heroes and villains just sat down and talked to each other, they might actually get on a little bit. Like, guys, we all look ridiculous. We all got our own castles, sort of thing. Like, I feel like if we just hash things out, maybe we can reach an equitable solution. Nice try, He-Man. It's not Christmas yet. Anyway, and so, yeah, Adam is there because he died, and apparently if you're a big-ass hero in Eternia, when you die, you go to Preternia, which is like paradise. And they got to go to Hero. I don't know.
I think he made the sword. I may be wrong.
And he's got like the other half, and they presented with the other half. It's just like, oi, fix. And he's like, I don't know. And meanwhile, but then Roboto is just like, I've got like a big quark capacitor or some bullshit in my chest. If I use this little bit of magic and combine a sword, and we convert this whole tower into a forge, we can fuse the swords back together. And they're like, okay, doing that. So while they're off doing that, Adam and Tina go off with her bickering and sniping at him. Like, you're just seeing your friend again for a long time. I would be happy. Yeah, Mark, if you died and the last thing that happened to you was you lying to me, I would be upset. And then when I saw you, I'd forget about the lie and just be happy that you're alive.
Well, if I faked my death?
Then I'd be less happy.
He's an asshole.
Oh, gee, thanks.
But that's her reaction to him. It's just like, no, you didn't trust me. It was just duh. And in fairness, he doesn't give a very good excuse, but he doesn't really owe her one. Just like, Tila, I'm dead. I died defending. Oh, and there's a whole bloody sequence where he's just like, hey, what's going on? You don't know? No, I don't know. I'm not going to tell you. Like, I'm condensing, but that's basically, like, it's some really bad dialogue, guys. The dialogue has been pretty good so far for that show, but it's really bad. It's inconsistent, like, moment to moment, like, line to line. It's actually quite painful to watch. It's just in this episode, just in, like, one or two scenes, but it's there, and it was clear that they were just running out of time. It's like amateur hour. The whole reason why they're teaming up is because they've got to seek out King Greyskull, voiced by Dennis Haybert, the originator of Castle Greyskull. And there's a whole bunch of like old Eternian heroes there, which is pretty cool. It fleshes out the lore a little bit. And the whole thing is like, when they ascend to paradise, they get to choose their own form. But Adam looks like Adam. Why doesn't he look like He-Man? Well, it turns out Adam is the only one who chose his a lesser form when he ascended. And that's fascinating. That is really interesting, and it's not expanded on at all. But anyway, you know what? It's a small thing. It's fine. We don't really need that much.
No. Would have been nice, but you know.
Yeah. So he and Tila have it out, and Adam is just like, what's going on with Eternia? I feel like she could have just said, oh, because the orb was destroyed, magic is gone, which means Eternia and the rest of the universe is dying. But she doesn't say that, and doesn't give her a very good... Like, there is a good reason why she wouldn't say that, because she'd be afraid that he would leave Preternia, give up his immortality in paradise to come back and save them. But he does that anyway, with no prompting from her, you know, after a nice chat with Mossman. It's a very interesting chat, actually, philosophically speaking, because he's told, like, once you the whole reason why you ended up in paradise is because of services rendered. You were He-Man, you did a lot of good, so you get to be here. When you go back, slate's wiped clean, you might not come back if you die again. And it's a very interesting talk with Mossman about how people, when they die, they go in the dirt and feed nature, and It's very interesting. And I'm not going to repeat it verbatim because I want you to go and listen to it, Capers. But it's a very fascinating conversation. And honestly, this show is full of not fascinating conversations, but engaging conversations between the characters. I liked it.
Yeah, I think when they focus on the right things, the script and the dialogue work.
Yeah. And so Adam decides to return to Eternia with Tila, and they manage to forge the Sword of Power back into one whole, but this kills Roboto. Didn't see that coming. But his last moments are actually kind of good as well, because it's just like, sister, I feel fear. That's not good. No, it is good. My whole life I've not been able to feel anything, but now I feel fear in the face of death. That's amazing, Dead.
Dead.
And it's just like, okay, that's a little bit weird, but it's also very fitting. And again, I don't care that much because I didn't know anything about this character, and I had no emotional connection to him like I had with Orko. But you know what? He was a pretty cool ending, and I'm sure people who are more familiar with this character would be very that would be very emotionally fulfilling for them, and that's great.
Unless they rebuild him.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. He's a robot. Shit. So, no, with the return to Eternia, they do not tell Duncan that his sort of son is dead. And Duncan does not question it when he sees them all coming back. It's just, it isn't like, hey, where's Orko and Roboto? They do not tell him.
Yeah.
He doesn't question it. They don't tell him. That's kind of weird. But anyway, they return to Eternia. They go back into Castle Grayskull, and they start summoning the power back. And Adam's just like, I have the power. And he's stabbed in the back by a returned out of the magic wand of Evelyn, Skeletor.
Christmas is back.
Christmas Skeletor, bitches! And he takes the sword and is like, well done, Evelyn. Sorry to deceive you about all of that, but I was actually hiding in your wand like a Pokeball. Now come take your place by my side. And Evelyn has a little moment where she's like, and then she breathes deeply, and you can tell, just through the animation, that she's talked herself into it.
Yeah.
And she goes and joins him along with Beast Man. I need to call him Beastmaster. That's an entirely different 80s cheese thing.
Yeah. No, I do like the little bit where Beast Man's like, welcome back, Master. He's like,
I know how to roll with the punches.
Yeah.
And then Skeletor takes the sword of power. It's like, I have the power. And he rises above.
And he says the line. He says, by the power of Grayskull. Like, what is happening?
He rises above Castle Grayskull as a living god. And that's how the show ends.
I gotta say.
I feel the sickening threat of brutal honesty, and I'm wildly uncomfortable.
It's this
damn.
is only part one, but yeah. Skeletor wins at the end of this.
Yeah,
Finally.
I gotta say, I didn't see that. I knew Skeletor. I knew Skeletor was gonna come back, but the fact he was like, "Haha, revenge is." I just like the generic, "Haha, revenge is mine, He-Man." But then he does the thing, and he becomes Skeletor He-Man.
And what's worse is, we don't know if Adam is going to survive this, and if he does survive, he's probably not going to get a do-over. He's not coming back. Though, considering the fan reaction to him barely being in this season, I'm willing to bet he's going to be back.
Yeah, I say they're probably going to keep him alive. He'll probably have to go on some sort of quest or whatever to heal or regain his ability to become Super He-Man.
So, let's just take a tally here. We were down He-Man, down Skeletor, got both of them back, nearly losing He-Man, and now we're also down Orko and Roboto.
Yeah. Oh, and Moss Man.
Oh, and Moss Man. Shit. Oh god. And so yeah, that I did see this coming because they were building up to it, and also thought like, wait, if they fix everything and bring magic back to Eternia, that's the show kind of over. But this is part one. What's going to happen? Oh, stab! I mean, I didn't see the way Skeletor came back. Didn't see that coming.
No.
But yeah, so what are our thoughts about? This is only 5 episodes, and we're going to get more. What do we think about this? Because honestly, there's a lot of pros and a lot of cons, and some of the pros are not its fault, and some of the cons are not its fault, because this is a continuation of something that was vastly different in terms of character and tone, but yet it also harkens back to that character and tone. This is very much a mixed bag, but in the best way, I think.
Well, I think it does it, to try to balance things out. Kevin Smith says it's aimed at the fans, but there's also like a slight openness to the newcomers, just that pinky holding you mentioned before. I think in terms of execution, for most of the parts, it does it quite well. Most of the story's good. Most of the characters are, Orko's great. They have a few other good ones as well. Teela's the one that's kind of the weakest in terms of writing. I think we both can agree on that.
Yeah, she didn't have to be. She really didn't have to be. Like, if you just scale back the angst, scale back the brattiness, scale back the whining, she would have been great. Because let's be honest, so let's talk about the animation for a second. Because the action scenes in this show kick ass, which is both a strength and a weakness. Because when you see Adam get stabbed, you're just feeling like, oh my god.
He's already dead.
And, there's blood, there's explosions. Is there blood? Yeah, there is.
There is.
Yeah. And there's a whole bunch of stuff going on. And it's really cool. Great sword fights. The animation is smooth and flowing when it needs to be. It's got this sort of Castlevania, but not really anime sort of style. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Where
The animation style reminds me of a show on Netflix called Blood of Zeus. It's quite similar to that.
Oh, yeah. No, I get what you're saying with that. And when it's fine, it's indicative of modern primetime animation. And a lot of things here really work. So we've already talked about the voice acting. I don't have a single complaint with the voice acting. Leaving aside the fact that the cast is already great, there's not a single line out of place, don't you think?
Oh yeah, I think they hit it out of the park in terms of casting and acting. I think it's really good.
Yeah. And so the animation is great. Voice acting is great. It harkens back to the original show, but still provides a lot of greater depth and understanding. This might be one of the best reboots / continuations of a classic franchise we've seen in a while. And that's a scary thought. And it is a continuation. Let's not forget. I mean, we say reimagining is because they've updated the visuals, the characters, the tone. Everything gets a revamp, but it's still very much a continuation. So, and this might put off some people, but again, if you don't have a big connection with the original show, that doesn't hurt. But the connections to the original shows does hurt. So if you're not aware of He-Man, this may not be the show for you. You will be wondering what the fuck is going on. But if you're even vaguely aware, like we are, you'll probably have a good time. But I can't help but think that it was missing something. That it was being held back with Teela, with the lack of He-Man. Something was missing from here that could have elevated this from being really good to great. And in fairness, it doesn't have to be great. I'm fine with really good. That's a perfectly decent target to hit.
I think,
but it's He-Man,
Well, I don't think
there's a pedigree there. There's a legacy.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, it's considered a very iconic cartoon for its time, if not one of. I mean, I think it was because of He-Man that toy line that kind of because it came out in 82, and it boosted the whole giant toy line TV commercial based show, that sort of thing.
So it's to blame.
No, don't. Well, yeah, well, yes and no, but you're right. It does have a bumpy legacy because the 80s shows kind of like there's that bubble that's in like, oh, it's He-Man, it's wonderful, but then everything.
Yeah.
Don't dare. But everything that kind of come after that, with the exception of She-Ra and maybe this show and the 2002 show a little bit, it's a bit bumpy.
Yeah, it's definitely not as cohesive, and I don't think as good as She-Ra and the Princesses of Power, but then I've got a soft spot in my heart for that, so, I'm biased. But but that was always meant to be a reboot. It was meant to be a complete overhaul, and you didn't have to know what happened previously in order to get it. There was very few references. Here, that might be advisable. But here's the thing, people who grew up watching that in early 80s are much older than both of us right now. So, for God's sake, it came out a whole 10 years before I was even born.
Yeah, different times. Different type of writing, I suppose, because when they made the toys, it was let's sell toys, let's make money, and then
it became this huge thing that sort of snowballed out from under them.
Yes, and kind of like took off from there.
And now we've got a whole bunch of stuff, including is it a prequel comic? It's a prequel comic. Master of the Universe Revelation is going to be released as a 4-issue mini-series. I haven't read any of them. Maybe I probably should have done. There is also an after show. I guess every big show now needs an after show. I was about to say, we don't need a show talking about the show we just saw, but that's exactly what we're doing. We're part of the problem.
Yes.
But yeah, Kevin Smith, Rob David, Tiffany Smith, hosting that, just talking about the show. I haven't seen it. I may do after the show, just because I wanted to go into this trying to figure it out for myself,
Yes.
And that's basically it. I watched it. It's a very short watch, in fairness. It's easy to binge. Each one is just like 25 minutes, if that.
Yeah, it's quite, you can watch it in about 2 hours. It's about 2 hours long if you did it in one go.
Yeah. And honestly, I think it is worth the thing. Just go in with the expectations slightly managed, and you will have a good time. It's a lot of fun. And, I'm not looking forward to part 2, but I'm not looking forward to part 2. We'll review that when it comes out. And you know what? For something He-Man related, animation related, that was started off as a basic nefarious campaign to sell overpriced plastic to children, it's amazing it turned out this good. And on that note, I think we're going to end the show. Thank you very much, Mark, for joining us today.
I still can't remember the fish pun.
And I will remind you of that until your dying days. But if you enjoy the show, Capers, please tell your friends. Shout it from the rooftops. And if you haven't already, go back and listen to some of our other super episodes, like all of our She-Ra reviews. We did a bunch of those for every season. Check them out. You can listen to the show on iTunes, YouTube, Spotify, Amazon Music, or at podcapers.com. If you want to get in touch with us, suggest show topics, or maybe come on the show yourself, you can find us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at APCUHYC. Thank you very much to Dan Harris for our logo, the lovely microphone, the red and blue 3D glasses, those are mine. And thank you for listening. This has been Podcapers, the official podcast of Place to Hang Your Cape. Cue the music!